So I want to talk about something else to do again. Take yourself out of the ethers as much as possible until well, ain't nothing gonna change because people don't. I don't think they know what kind of control they have. So it won't change. It's gonna get worse because people don't understand that they have any kind of power, and because they don't understand that they have any kind of power, the ethers are going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Okay. Consciousness is in the ethers. The ethers is where the ego is, not the true self. Not that I believe. So that's what I'm saying. Pull out the ethers. That meaning, pull out the ego. Every now and then you get to a point where you know this is not your real life. You know you're not really here. You know this is not really you. But you are playing a role right now as an ego. You're playing a role as an ego, but not a real person. You're an entity. You're a created entity. I said this before. We weren't born. We died. This is death. This is a death realm. You can't have all these kind of problems. Here it is. When you're in a more or less dense realm, when people call themselves dying and they go to a realm, I said this before, people who have problems with sickness, I don't care if it's diabetes, I don't care if it was cancer, I don't care what it was, when they transition out of this physical world into another type of world, they are not really with those kind of problems. They're not really with those kind of problems when they exit the physical body. That's what I'm saying. This world, to me, I feel like it's death. I feel like it's death. Okay? I don't feel like it's life. I feel like it's death. And then once you transition out of this, depending on how you go and where you are, in your, I guess in your mind or whatever, because the mind doesn't belong to you. And that's another thing is, you know, doing things to kind of depart from the mind for like an hour a day or 30 minutes a day. Depart from the mind and get to the true self. You know, because this thing needs to shut down if it can't get better. It's going to, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to get worse. And, you know, you don't have to hang on to it. You don't have to hang on to this matrix, this ethers, whatever. You don't have to hang on to it. And people don't know anything different because it depends on what your experiences are. My experience has been very grueling for the last year and a half to the point where I've got some answers. And you don't have to stay connected to the ethers. You don't. So if it can't get any better, they want to keep messing with the code and messing with people's bodies so they can pull their behinds into apps and stuff. So they want to mess with their coding. I know that's what they're doing. I saw a big chalkboard, and this lady talked about this on the live when she talked about the binary code. But I actually saw this like in a dream on a chalkboard, like a big chalkboard, and I saw a bunch of zeros and ones. That's the coding. A bunch of zeros and ones. And when I listened to her channel the other day, she was talking about those zero and ones. It's more two-dimensional. People are not 3D even. They're two-dimensional now. This the coding they mess these doggone controllers done change the coding to zeros and ones, and most people are now two-dimensional if they are not aware. That's why I disconnect from the freaking ethers. This is what's going on. You don't have to be a part of it. I'm like really annoyed with it, and I'm annoyed with it because I'm seeing more and more of what's going on and how diabolical it is. But that's only because of stuff that I've been through, because everybody ain't gonna get it if they're not going through stuff. Not the way I am anyway. Because the way I'm going through stuff that you can't talk to nobody. You can't talk to nobody that's just focused on the physical world. You can't talk to nobody about that. But honestly, I can't talk to practitioners about that. Readers, and I can't even talk to them. If they call themselves doing voodoo, I can't talk to them about that. You gotta talk to somebody who understands the ethers. You gotta talk to somebody who understands coding. You gotta understand the people that understand electronic harassment. You gotta understand you gotta talk to people that understand that they are the ego versus the real self. I don't care if they're spiritualists and what they're practicing and how many candles they burn. If they don't get that, they can't help you because it's been, you know, they still don't know. Okay? But yeah, you know, I don't know if you do meditations, however you do it. Everybody don't meditate. Everybody got their own way of doing things. But whatever you do, disconnect from the ethers. Make a daily practice of disconnecting from the ethers at least 30 minutes a day. Disconnect from these ethers and tear this shit down if they can't fucking do it right. These controllers already brought people down to two-dimensional. That's how I wonder why. How is consciousness being pulled into apps? Because I done seen it. With Zuckerberg and all these people controlling, doing things with a remote control and pulling people into apps, their consciousness into apps. They changed his fucking coding. Because people are made up of codes. That's why people have different experiences, because they're made up of codes. And then wherever particular area they was born, I heard this other lady say this too. But I knew this too, but you hear somebody else say it. And whatever particular birthday you are, your life is kind of mapped out unless you decide to change it. So everybody's life is not going to be the same. And it's not going to be because they did something wrong. It's because that's what's been planned out for their life. And they don't know it. And they're coding. Maybe some people are treated differently from others. Maybe some people have it harder than others because of the coding. Get that out your coding, and then stuff won't happen. That's a good class to take. Let me tell you, that is a good class to take right there. But you need to take a class from somebody that's willing to tell you the truth. Because I have seen other people, guys or whoever, that understand coding, but they might not be willing to help you. They might be trying. If you don't know any better, they could tell you the wrong thing. So I got to be careful with these people, even when they're knowledgeable. I got to be careful with them. But that's all I got to say. You just disconnect from these ethers. They messing with things. They messing with people. They messing with the coders. They done brought people down to 2D instead of 3D. Okay, and it's not going to get better. I said in that dream, I heard that siren noise from the purge, and then it was a voice that came and said consciousness is going down, baby. And if people are 2D now, definitely consciousness has gotten lower, and it's going to get even lower. It's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. People are just not real anymore anyway. I mean, they keep getting pulled down. They think they're real. They think they have feelings. They can feel stuff. They have sensation, and that makes them feel like they're real, but they're not. They're complete egos that's really controlled by somebody else. Because they completely lost their power. That's what I'm saying. Disconnect from these fucking ethers and get your power back. I'm sick of these controllers. I'm sick of them. Disconnect from the fucking ethers and tear this shit down until something better happens with it. But anyway, that's it, and I'll talk later.